bit about going on the going back to, I guess, Micah's camp during the off season and why you did that and what you got out of it?
Just in the off season, with Micah, that I was kind of knowing that I was going to kind of handle him a little bit from a coaching perspective, and I really just wanted to get to know him, what makes him tick, what's inside here, how can he respond to coaching, teaching. You got to get to know a person before you really just start hammering in the X's and O's. And I'm a Pennsylvania guy, he's a Pennsylvania guy, and he was telling me he was going to do a camp up in Harrisburg High School where he went. 400 kids, a free camp, and he's out there. And I think he ran quite a few in Dallas and Texas. And he had one up at State College at Penn State, and then one in Harrisburg. So he spent a lot of his time, his free time, with these young kids. And I think it's tremendous.
What's the job of the Micah Whisperer?
Oh, I don't know what the Micah Whisperer is. Hey, he's a heck of a player. We're going to utilize his abilities to what we think it puts him in the best position, our team in the best position. Sometimes it's going to be good for him. Sometimes it's going to be good for the guy next to him, and he's just got to understand the role. And really what we're trying to do is to get him to understand the whole defense, not just one spot. And once he understands, I always tell him, knowledge is power. And you know where everything's supposed to fit, and this is why we're doing this. And we may be sending you here or over here. Because a guy like that, I think you got to move him around a little bit just to utilize his assets.
What are the biggest differences in this schematically that you're asking this group to do that they haven't done before? Is it the disguise pre-snap, or is it anything else? I
mean, there's some carryover from the every team pretty much in the NFL has, whether the fronts or the coverages are very similar. It's just how we call them, the details of it, the discipline of it, whether it's hand placement for a D lineman, the run fits for the linebackers, being in proper leverage as a DB. So it's just all those things to get those things more fine-tuned. Obviously, we added some stuff that they didn't have a year ago. So that would be the learning part of it here in training camp. That's what these days are for.
You guys had a player like Mike, and when you came up with special packages, had a coach.
Not very many. Not like him. I'll be honest with you. Not like him. He's a guy. He's a 4-3 guy, and he can rush. He can cover. He's one of those guys. And as a coach, you tell him one time, he might have messed up. Or he may say, hey, the guard did this, the center did that, and the tackle did that. And you're like, what? And then you turn the tape on, and he's exactly right. And those kind of guys, once you tell him once, he gets it exactly right the next time. So there's not a lot of wasted time. There's not a lot of do-overs with him. So the more he can handle that, the more we're going to put on his plate. And he's got to understand he has to hold that responsibility. It might be something different every week.
Zim said it didn't take a whole lot to sell Micah on the plan you guys have for him. How have you seen that trust develop between those two?
We meet every morning. Right after the team meeting, I'll grab him, Trey. Dono's been coming in, so now it's starting to get a bigger crowd in there. Just trying to explain to him what the defense is, why we call this, why we call that, so he understands. Really, the more everybody can understand why we call certain things, the better off we're going to be.
He said you guys are making him smarter. How are you seeing that?
Because he's picking it up. And we go out here on the field, we say, hey, maybe he can do this, maybe he can do that, and that's what these days are for, is to see what he can handle. So it may not be everything, say week 1 or week 5. It may be a little box down in the corner that it's calls just for him. So he's been able to handle those things, and it's been pretty good so far.
What do you think Zim missed the most about being away the last couple of years?
Just being around the guys, the coaches, figuring out how to handle certain things. You always got to evolve, and I think having the time off, when you're not just dialed in on one thing and one job, one team, and you get a chance to look at the NFL landscape, you kind of look at it, and whether it be maybe red zone or how to handle a formation, a blitz or coverage, whatever it is, how we can do things better.
How quickly did you guys kind of become tight the way you've worked together in a couple of
Yeah, I was in Cincinnati. I think it was 2009. He came in. I was coaching linebackers. He came in as the defensive coordinator. We really started. He came in. He put this system in. We started running the AA package, which now everyone's running. It's been almost 12, 13 years now. We've put that in, and we've kind of evolved with it a little bit. Doing some different things. So it's just bouncing ideas off each other. He has a ranch in Kentucky. In the summer, we'll go down there for a few days, turn the film on, and go to work.
He was saying his daughter was telling him the other day just how happy he seemed to hear. Have you noticed a joy or something coming back and just being out here?
Zim's a ball coach. He's always going to be. He loves being around the guys. He likes teaching fundamentals, being around the coaches. And again, training camp's a really good time to dig deep into the fundamentals, because once you get into the season and you start game planning and those type of things, you always got to rely back on your fundamentals. So that's something that he harps on.
From your perspective, getting Nick Vigil in the building, how did that kind of come together, and how excited are you?
Yeah, we drafted Nick in Cincinnati, and he played as a rookie for us. He played really all 3 spots. He's a smart guy. He can wear the green dot, so he can come in here and pretty much, I think he took reps today in the walkthrough and didn't skip a beat. So he's been in, not only in Cincinnati, we signed him in Minnesota, and he started for us. It was Barr, Kendricks, and him were the 3 starting linebackers. So he's a smart guy that can not only play linebacker for us, but give us some value on special teams as well.
How important is Kendricks as an on-field bridge to help?
Been fabulous. I mean, when you have a guy making all the calls, the right, lefts, how you're setting your fronts, your pressures, the guy's done it for a long time at a high level. So the other players who haven't been in the system, at least early on in the spring, and now we're in training camp, they can ask him, and he can kind of drive the bus for us in there.
Good.
All good?
Thanks.
All righty. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.